Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of the Secret Origins of Mint Condition. This is part 3 of our celebration of 40 years of Crisis on Infinite Earths. And we are hanging out where you left us on this asteroid overlooking the 5 merging Earths. And so joining me still is Joe.
Hey folks, how you doing?
Also joining me is Keith.
Hey guys.
And the we didn't see him there, but the monitor must have also saved Richie Garofalo is also with us today.
Thank you.
We weren't
Last minute
sure.
favorite.
We weren't sure. We weren't sure who got saved, but we looked over and you were there, and so thankfully you've been able to join us. So, and Richie, we've been anxious for you to join us throughout this entire series. We knew we had to have you on, so I hope you don't mind me sharing because you shared with me that you've not read Crisis before,
Correct.
and we're doing this dive into it. You're going to be like, I guess, we'll just dive into it. Joe, you have the $1 million question. What were you going to ask Richie?
Well, I mean, Richie's admitted to a pop culture confession that he's never read Crisis on Infinite Earths before, and I'd like to know why.
Good
Simple as that. Simple as that, Rich.
Yeah, it's a real good question. After Adrian was born, and I wasn't able to get to the corner store for comics regularly, and the subscriptions was a complete botch job by
Yeah.
Marvel and DC. That I figured, you know what, it's time to call it quits. So it was during 1981 to 1986 that I did not read comics. So this came out in 1985, and 1986 was The
yeah.
Man of Steel. And we were walking
Mhm.
through Pathmark, the supermarket, and they had a comic book stand. And God forbid I should pass the comic book stand without glancing. And there was John Byrne's, you know, Superman, Man of Steel. I was back in.
What a great
So
reentry. That's a great book to
yeah.
re-enter the. Yeah.
Oh
Wow.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I missed Crisis. I didn't know what, I would get in dribs and drabs about Crisis later on, but I never had, got any of the issues. I never went back. I'm sure we had it at the shop when did they have a trade paperback of Crisis back then?
Oh yeah, Crisis when you owned the
Yeah.
store
Yeah.
or
Yeah, when I
oh
owned the
yeah, we had
store.
the Crisis trades. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
because that's how I first read it was the trades.
And we had Rich. We had that one that was in the an absolute edition. They didn't call it that back then.
Oh,
But it was in the slipcover. Remember that?
yeah.
Sold for like $150. I don't remember who purchased that, but
Oh,
somebody did.
somebody must have. Yeah,
Yeah.
I don't remember that one. No, I saw the
Oh
price
yeah, I remember that
on
book.
this.
That book was with us for a
It
while.
was in the because it was expensive. That's why it was in this beautiful slipcover, and I used to look at it and think about it. And I can't let somebody, And so I just can't remember who purchased that book.
Yeah, somebody. Yeah, but was that during your time, Joe?
Yeah,
Somebody.
we sold it during when I had the store. Yes.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow. But so Richie, you came like you entered comics in a post-crisis era.
Yes, I did,
Yeah.
and I
Yeah.
loved every minute of it. Really, I thought it was fantastic. Um, Superman being the first one to you know get me back involved, and then I just immediately went over and started collecting everything again. Marvel and DC. Do I remember anything? Don't expect me to remember anything. These
Well,
brain
no.
Well,
cells.
I
I'm
don't.
not the encyclopedia Joe or Keith are when it comes to this.
Well, you guys are all
This
great
is some
in
very weighty stuff.
Yeah. Well, I guess before we dive into like 7, 8, and 9, which is this spoilers audience, hopefully you've read 7, 8, or
Oh,
9, or you're about to get a tour de force of like the heavy stuff in
it's
Crisis.
40 years ago. There's no spoilers anymore.
Yeah.
Statute of limitations is up.
But Richie, since you've read issues 1 through 6 for the first time, I'm just curious, general thoughts, feelings of what you've read so far before we discuss the issues tonight.
As I was starting to say to you guys before we got on, I kind of would have liked to have seen this on the monthly basis that it came out, at least the beginning, because there was a lot of stuff crammed in there. I mean,
Mm.
George Perez and these. You need a magnifying glass. Thank goodness I have the iPad. I can zoom in on every on every frame and get all this the detail in there. I mean, Perez is amazing, and then of course the dialogue and whatnot. It's just there's a lot to absorb. I also felt it was memory lane, going down memory lane with all the different characters, let alone just the traditional ones that I grew up with. I mean, because we're talking Golden Age, we're talking Carlton Comics, we're talking the other presses that I don't even remember at this point. I know. I guess DC, well, obviously DC got control over a lot of the characters like Uncle Sam and
Hmm.
Phantom Lady and all that, which were under different publications, which is why they
Right.
were alternate Earths, right?
Hmm.
Um, so I enjoyed that part too, but I think I could have absorbed one issue a month. That being said, these last three issues that I've read, which will be today's discussion, I had no problem with reading right in a row.
Yeah.
Very
well,
good.
well, we're gonna dive into it, and then I'm gonna kick us off just because I guess I feel like Richie. I know it's your first time coming to Crisis, but you also come with all the pre-Crisis knowledge that I didn't have. Because I came to Crisis when we first got the trade in the store, but I also didn't appreciate it. This is like the first time I've appreciated. This is like my third attempt to reading this thing,
Right.
and I'm gonna say that I feel like issue 7 is you could have started with issue 7 almost in my mind. Like issue 7, like you could have done issues 1 through 3 and then maybe condensed issues 3 through 6 and then jump to 7. Again, I'm not just trying to like maybe Marv Wolfman was the edit, probably was said down. We need 12 issues. You got to do it for a full year. Jim Shooter's doing it across the way with Secret Wars. You got to do it here too.
Yeah, DC editorial probably told Marv, stretch it out.
Stretch it out. So, but reading issue 7, I'm like, issue 7 is it tells you the whole backstory. It shows and tells you the whole backstory.
Mm-hmm.
It tells you the reason where Monitor, Anti-Monitor came from, and it's a superhero action. Like it's everything. This issue's everything. It's the best issue in my mind of what we've read so far, and that's
Agreed.
my that's my thoughts on it. But again, I'm coming at it from the lens that I'm coming at it, so I'm just curious. Keith, what's your thoughts on issue 7 as an overall thing, and then we can kind of pick it apart a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, there's so much to it. I mean, obviously, number eight's my favorite for a lot of reasons, but this is definitely the best issue. It's like if you had to give one issue to someone at Crisis, which would be ridiculous, but if you had to, this would be the one. I mean, it's double size. It gives the history of everything. It's just a beautiful book. Plus, obviously, the big event that happens in it. This is definitely like the best issue. It's so good. And you really start to see in this issue. Like in the first, 5 or 6, you do see a lot more of the obscure characters, which I love, but you don't see a ton of the big guns or even the second tier. And now you see them all kind of coming together, and it feels more like important, I guess you could say.
Yeah, that's what I was the other thing that you just touched on, Keith. It's like, yeah, the heavy hitters here. We got Captain Marvel, we got Wonder Woman, we got Martian Manhunter,
Two
we
Supermen.
got 2 Supermen, we got Supergirl, we got
Supergirl, right?
we have like we got is there a Green Lantern? Yeah, we got like I think Alan Scott is there. Like we have
Yeah.
all the heroes are. It's finally like again, not disrespecting. I'm not as familiar with the classic characters as you guys are, so seeing some of the characters that were issues 1 through 6 didn't resonate with me as well as seeing more of these iconic, well-known DC heroes. So that's why, like, it just from a comic book, like I recognize everybody issue. Also, this is the issue that spoke to me. But Joe, what did you think revisiting 7?
Well, the thing that struck me about 7 was the brutal battle between Supergirl and the Anti-Monitor. I completely forgot how that's one of the best comic book fights I think ever staged. I thought that was I completely forgot about that. And I think I've said this before. I don't remember when the first issue hit, if it was the fall but it was before a couple of conventions. And all they told us at the conventions about this crisis that 2 very big time characters were going to go away and not come back forever. We didn't know who they were. So when you pick up issue 7 and you see Superman holding Supergirl's seemingly dead body on the cover, he's holy shit, killed all Supergirl. And then you see the battle, and how she goes in there to save her cousin, and she just tears into this guy, and rips his suit apart. So that when we see him again, he's got a completely different outfit, which is much more menacing, by the way. Really cool. So for me, that was the biggest thing about rereading it, and also rereading it the first time, and then rereading it again. I haven't read this in about, I guess, about 10 years. So I'd forgotten the savagery of that battle.
Yeah, that battle was great, and also like really gave me an appreciation for Supergirl at the
Oh
time.
yeah.
Oh,
You
yeah.
know,
Yes.
It makes me wonder, like, maybe I'm wrong, but I feel like these days when characters die, people like immediately like request them, bring them back, bring them back, bring them back. I feel like Supergirl, even Barry Allen to a certain degree, it wasn't really a thing as much because I feel like they were just given incredibly heroic deaths where people
Mm-hmm.
were like, even if you were a huge fan, you were like, you know what, that was amazing. Let's not undo that and like just kind of move on. Like, I mean, her death. I mean, she was just the best. Like you can't get any more heroic in comics than that.
No, not at all.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So Richie, what was your impression? I know you gave us an overall impression of 1 through 6, but reading 7, what's your thoughts?
7, definitely the Supergirl battle. I mean, the comic itself, really could, like you said, could have started there because everything's explained. The battle with Supergirl. I mean, you never saw Supergirl like this before,
Yeah.
So she and it's not until 3 days ago that I read this issue, and I was blown away by it, and it did it justice. They really did Supergirl justice with that issue.
Did 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 you read all 9 issues like in the last week or something like that? I'm curious what the time frame was.
I started reading the first 2 probably 8 weeks ago, and then dropped it. And you know what? Part is there was so much in the beginning, and like Joe was saying, they could have really condensed it, and which is also why I said it could have been spread out because I would have just been happy with that. But the last 3 issues, I blew away in
Oh,
4
these
days,
are the
and that's
best.
taking care of my granddaughter in between, and hanging out with my daughter and stuff here in California. But
So I guess my question though is for 2 reasons. A, because I'm just curious about how you must feel right now, but also because I don't want to say spoil anything. Have you not read 10, 11, 12 yet?
I read 10. I
Okay.
um
Okay.
and I haven't read 11 and 12. I want
Okay.
I thought I
I
was
have to be
stopping.
mindful not to say anything.
Okay.
Okay.
It just when I was reading these last actually 4 issues, I thought I was reading 3, but with it's very hard to tell with with the iPad where
Yes.
you really
Yeah.
left off or not.
That
Okay.
kind of.
Yes. Well, I know once you get to the cover, you know that you're on to the next one, but they're 25 pages long, which was longer than traditional comics at that time anyway, even for a regular issue. I mean, back then, I think they might have been 20 if you were lucky. I don't know when they started. I mean,
20 to 22 in the mid 80s.
yeah.
Yeah.
And so I
Yeah.
just, I lost
And
count.
issue 7 was a double size issue too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, well, and I
So
still
you must be kind of excited though, because you don't know how it ends. Like you're kind of. I mean, you know how it
yes,
ends, kind
yeah.
of like.
But yeah.
Well, I'm curious because of Joe's remarks earlier that he got onto the subway and he had to read that issue. It didn't matter what the hell was going on in the subway. That issue is
I
going to
would have
get
gone
read.
past my stop if I had to.
And so I really want to see how it ended. How they presented it versus I saw the results. Okay, I didn't see
Totally.
how it ended, and where everything falls. I have no idea, and I still have no idea.
That's cool.
So
That's
so
great.
Yeah, no, that's good. Yeah, that's cool. That's why we wanted you here for
Yeah.
the back 2 episodes.
Yeah.
The second half of Crisis, because you're bringing a very learned but fresh perspective on it.
Yeah, it's unique because
Yeah,
you know the
it
history
is.
before, but it's fun.
It is. It's fun. It is unique. I mean, I'm thinking we did have this trade paperback in the store, and for whatever reason, I never sat down and read it. It's not like I wasn't reading comics back then, because I was reading.
No, you were
stuff
up to
coming
date.
off
We
the
always
shelf.
talked about the new stuff. Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah, but for
Yeah.
whatever
Sometimes
reason,
this
I
happens,
didn't.
right?
Yeah.
Sometimes I didn't watch The Godfather until like 3 years ago.
Oh, you're like my wife.
Exactly. I can't tell you why. It just didn't. I don't know. And I'm a movie buff. I watch a lot of TV and shows. I just don't know why. And then I watched it one day. I just saw it pop up. I'm like, oh, okay.
Well, before I guess since we've already touched upon it, let's start I guess in reverse to what we normally do. Obviously, once again, and Joe said it's 40 years audience. If you don't know, and the cover tells you, Supergirl dies in this issue. It was great battle. Like I said, I don't think even in the modern stuff I've ever seen Supergirl written this way.
No.
With the level of ferocity, but the level of compassion and empathy and heroic nature that they gave her, I thought was excellent. And just the way the DC universe mourns for her and her, it's really the back. It's amazing. The back, and again, George Perez's art is. I mean, I know we say it every episode we've done.
I know.
This but he seems to be getting better as he's going.
Yeah.
He's every issue. He's like, oh, I maybe just like I'm not going to get myself bored. I'm going to show you I can even do more characters and more, grand displays of artwork in this, because this issue is just fantastic. And
right, he draws a scary Anti-Monitor, man, when he's like, thus I can no longer wait, you are dead. I remember that as a kid being like, oh my god.
Yeah. It's so that's like the back half, and then he's drawing the Monitor's fortress, and it's which looks very similar to Thanos' fortress in the Infinity Gauntlet saga. I was just thinking about that recently.
Look at that again.
Yeah. Yeah. So
I can see that. Yes, definitely.
Yeah, I think there was like some lifting there, and for some reason in this issue also George Perez managed to make Pariah look cool too. Who is like Pariah is like the least favorite character in the whole saga, but it's just amazing. So
I think George Perez could do that with anything, I think.
Yeah, and again, we get to see all the characters as mentioned before. Even Dr. Light has her turning moment here, and is finally becoming a hero. It's it's great. I don't know if I can say much more about the back half of the issue, so I don't know if there's anyone else wants to comment on anything special that stood out with them before. I guess after this we can go back in time and then talk about the origin of the whole thing.
Well, I mean,
but
just that death scene is so
about Supergirl's death.
tragic.
I think that's
you got to cover
obviously the highlight of the issue, but there's so much more going on.
There is so much more going on.
It's just so sad though when he's talking to her before she passes away. I don't know, that breaks my heart.
Well, I guess we can go back a little bit and condense it for the audience who might be just following Crisis along audibly with us and may not be reading the book. So we learn that the Owens are basically the Guardians of the Universe, are basically the impetus for this crisis that we learn. They're the most technologically advanced, and am I getting this right? Either Joe, Keith, or Richie, like there's only one version of them throughout the multiverse. Is that what they were saying?
That's correct.
Yes.
Okay. Okay.
Just like Darkseid.
Oh, that's right, Darkseid. Yeah, we
see Darkseid in which issue was it?
And they're both just one. Even now, even to this day, that it's always just one Darkseid and one Guardians.
We see that they basically discover I forgot that one Guardian's name. He's not a Guardian, but he's a member of the Owen race. Krona. Yeah, he's the one who basically unlocks the antimatter verse.
Because he does the forbidden. He looks at the beginning of the universe. It's not just forbidden.
Yes. Yeah. There's a lot of information here, so trying to keep it all straight.
And thank God you three are there, because I don't remember the names. I don't remember the names. Just before you continue, who inked this issue? Because I don't think
this was like one of those issues where everybody pitches in because it was 40 pages.
Oh, okay.
I'm looking at one page here, 184 in my book, and that's definitely inked by Ordway, who inked most of the series. But then I think either DiCarlo or maybe Carl Kessel inked a few pages or inked some pages. Because it does change imperceptibly, but you can see the changes. It's not all, what's his name, Jerry Ordway.
Right. Yeah. Right. Yeah. I mean, that's what I could tell right now at the pages I had been looking at. So that's why I asked. Otherwise, I mean, Ordway's inks are incredible.
Yeah, in the middle of the battle, some of the battle is Ordway, but then you look at a couple of pages, that's definitely not Ordway. That could be Mike DiCarlo or Carl Kessel. Is it Carl Kessel? I believe it's the same. Let me look at the contents. Yeah, should have done this. Yeah, Carl Kessel. Yeah, Dick Giordano, Mike DiCarlo, Jerry. Oh, Jerry could have been Dick Giordano inking some pages also. There was 4 inkers on this thing.
Right.
On the entire series, and I think everybody got a chance to do something in that double size issue to get it out. And remember, none of these issues shipped late. They all shipped on time.
That's crazy.
I know
Amazing. Yeah.
it's amazing. It's amazing, but that's the old timers.
So just to get the timeline straight, so we have Krona looks into the beginning of the universe that creates the Monitor and Anti-Monitor, right? With him looking into it. Okay, and the Anti-Monitor
creates the antimatter universe.
Yes, he creates the Anti-Monitor universe, and the Monitor is just hanging out on an Owen moon for a while, right?
And the offshoot of Owens that didn't agree with the other guys, they become the controllers.
Yes.
Oh, that's right. Yes. Mm-hmm. And then, so after the two monitors are created, then it's Pariah he does the same thing, right? He looks into.
Well, the way I take it is he was a scientist, and his hubris led him to do things that were, I guess, unethical, and he's the reason why this all started, basically. So that's where I was a little confused, but. We see the planet Allah, right? But where do we see Mr. Pariah? He wasn't Pariah, but he had a human name at one point. He did have a human name.
Oh yes, yeah. I'm looking at it digitally, so it's hard for me to zoom in.
In freeing him, you see, I set loose a force which has destroyed 1,000 universes. Hear me out, and you will see how false pride led to the fall of everything I hold dear. So it's really his fault.
Yes, it is Pariah's
fault. Which
is
why he is doomed to be at the scene of every impending crisis where things are going to be, where worlds are going to die. That's his penance.
Yes.
Okay, now, see, I might be screwing up the timeline with the comics, and I might be talking about issue 10 right now, because I got the impression Pariah ends up not being. I mean, up to date with the comics right now, he is definitely the reason we have the two
you
monitors.
Read that far ahead. I don't remember, so it could very well happen. It could be a heel turn, so to speak, a turn, right? Yeah.
Okay.
Well, Keith knows. Keith knows. Do you want to? Is Richie thinking ahead, or are we?
That doesn't sound familiar. I haven't reread up to that point yet.
Okay. All right. So
I'm going along with us, But yeah, I don't recall. I don't recall that.
Okay.
All right.
Then that's probably in issue 11, and we'll keep that off to the side. I'm this poor guy is being abused, and I think who is it that really
Lady
really
Clark
has a
wants to
yes.
Lady, she wants to.
Spoiler. She forgives him sort of in issue 10.
Yeah, she wants.
You'll see what I'm talking about.
Okay. That I remember. I remember that.
Yeah,
she finally kind of lightens up on him.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, and then in the interim, I think we glossed over the Guardians after what happened. They create the Manhunters first, and then they create the Green Lanterns.
Mm-hmm. They imbue the power battery with their own power, their own energy, because the Manhunters were created, but they took their mission a bit too seriously and too on the nose, and they became villains basically. Yeah, they were like galactic stormtroopers.
Yes.
Yeah.
Joe, I think I'm probably wrong. That wasn't the first appearance of the Manhunters, right? They were before.
Well, there was a Manhunter created in the 40s by Jack Kirby. That was Paul Kirk, I believe.
In the 70s one, I think. But it wasn't these?
Then they brought him back and in Detective Comics. But there was a story in Green Lantern at the time that they told the story of the Manhunters. Why they took the name. I don't know if there was a connection between the original Manhunter and the Galactic Manhunters. That I do not know. If Steve, you're out there, if you know that, please enlighten us.
I recognized the Manhunter costume when I saw it. I just don't know where in the timeline did I see it. Did I see it after Crisis, or did I see it before Crisis?
It made me wonder because, I started thinking, were they planting the seeds already for the next event? Because, no, not next, but in 2 or 3 years they did Millennium, and the Manhunters were the villains in that. So I was just wondering if they were if they existed before, or if they were this. Pulling a Jeff Johns, planting the seeds for something that was gonna, because Marv Wolfman was very Jeff Johns is very much like Marv Wolfman in a way.
Yeah.
So I wonder if they were around before.
They were. They definitely were. At least I think they were. I should have more research. Sorry about that.
And not to derail what we just talked about, I don't want to derail what we're talking about, but if the Guardians are like only singular in the multiverse, does that mean are there not multiversal Green Lanterns?
Maybe not with a core. I mean, I know there's Green Lanterns and different different power, like different, like in the absolute Green Lantern's different. The Earth 2-1 from the New 52 had like a different power source. Obviously,
Okay.
Alan Scott did.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
So there's other, but just may not be the Green Lantern Corps, I guess, in
Right.
multiverse, since the Guardians are the singular, and
Huh. It's a really good question.
and the battery is only on Oa, right? The battery exists
Central
on Oa,
battery, yes.
which is imbued by the Anyway, I'm taking us down a side road. I'm just
No,
curious.
it's interesting because you got me thinking, because even with like Darkseid, the same thing. It's like when he goes to like a different Earth and messes with people, it's the same one. So I don't know. I just I'm gonna have to do some deep diving tonight.
Yeah, this is like breaking we're breaking the fourth dimensional wall here with our.
Yep.
Give me homework.
So that's like a issue 7 in an encapsulated view. Was there any? I think we touched on everything high level on it. Was there anything like specific that we didn't touch on that we should go back to?
It's okay. So in the beginning of this issue, is it the first time we see Brainiac?
Did we not see him in the issue
No, he
previous?
collected. We saw his ship one
Yeah.
other time collecting Luthor. He grabbed Luthor in a previous.
Mhm.
Okay.
Somewhere in issues 1 through 6 is when he grabbed Luthor, but
Okay. And in
I don't
the
know if we
beginning,
got the full reveal of him.
right?
Um,
Okay.
I
You
don't think
see
so.
in the very beginning of this issue, he's grabbing Savannah.
Yes. Yeah.
Okay. So that might be the start of the, I guess, future collection we're going to be seeing.
Yes.
Mhm.
Issue 9. Yeah. I think so, but I can't recall if we'd seen like the full
Anything
Brainiac
else?
until issue 9. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I didn't either, but I just in flipping the pages, I saw the Brainiac ship with the tentacles in the beginning. So I was wondering, is this the first time we saw him?
Well, cool. So this is issue 8 is the big issue for you, Keith. I know you've shared this one on previous Origin episode and in some of the Flash episodes, but I will, let you take it away. If you give your story about issue 8 again, and then you can kind of dive into it, since this is like the issue that you were looking forward to
Oh,
when
thank
we
you.
did our deep dive.
Thank you. This was the first comic book I ever read, which is
Yes.
crazy to think I jumped into number 8 of Crisis. It's like coming in like the first 20 minutes of like Endgame or something like that.
And how old were you?
I was 10. Yeah.
Wow.
It's wild, isn't it?
Wow. And to be able to, Joe, according to Joe and James, you were able to follow everything.
Well, yeah, I mean, there was definitely characters I didn't know in the background, but
Right.
I got that they were all involved in this big, intergalactic kind of war, and it was, I think, out of every issue out of any other issue in Crisis, it definitely focuses on Barry, or one character, I should say, more than
Right.
anyone else. Like even
Right.
more than the Supergirl issue. Like this really is a Flash issue, really.
Yeah. Mhm.
So yeah, I was in a 7-Eleven with my dad, and I still have it, a Superpowers Flash action figure, which I loved as a kid, but knew nothing about him. I thought him and Flash Gordon were the same guy. And I saw this comic cover, and I'm like, oh my god, I have to have that. And I must have read that thing like a million times, and I was blown away. It's watching it's like, again, like with Supergirl, the heroism of this character I knew nothing about, and intrigued by seeing like a Kid Flash, like he at one point, like, what's that about? And then to seeing him like referencing some tragic event with his wife, I'm like, oh, there's so much there I need to know everything about. And I was pulled in immediately. George Perez's art, like you can't have any better intro into the comic medium than that. I was blown away. It's a fantastic issue. Anyway, it opens up with Barry basically like super glued to a wall in a outer space, like spaceship, secret lair, seemingly helpless, and kind of implying that he was kind of beaten down for a bit there, and with the psychopirate kind of monologuing and doing his whole thing. It starts so great. You have the monitor there, menacing. You feel like this Flash is in deep trouble, which he is. But shortly after, he makes his move to escape.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, this issue is great too. I mean, I know we were just talking about Seven, how amazing, and Seven is amazing, but this is another. It's like I said, this is where, as you said, you ended our last podcast, Keith, I think, saying this is where the story builds momentum, and it does because in Richie, you blew through these a lot faster than the rest of them. These are the issues. Again, I hate to say, listen, I just like I know these characters more, and this is more of like in the modern vein of comic book storytelling. I feel like where the pace is quicker and the story is quicker, and this issue flew as well. But again, this is where we get that dark side is singular. I think this is where we, after you just talk with the Flash, Keith, this is where we see the Green Lanterns learn about what happened on Oa, right, with the power battery and everything.
Yep.
Yeah, and they're asking the Guardians, why didn't we get involved earlier? The Guardians really come off as jerks in this issue.
Oh, totally. It set the tone. I mean, Richie, what did you think?
But six of them do split off. That's right. They hit that they're going to do that. And
I'm just curious what your first impression was, like first time reading this after everything.
Well, as far as the Green Lantern end of it, they've multiple times seemed to come out as jerks or
Jerks. Yes,
they don't get it or whatever. But the beginning of this issue, with Flash glued to the wall, like you said, and the anti-matter monitor. I mean, and then Darkseid's he's just saying, I'm going to hide and stay out of this. I'm going to cloak myself.
He's going to pick up
somehow.
what's left.
Yeah.
Smart.
But you got the Green Lantern Corps now here, and you're looking at these guys. It was impressive, and I probably should be reading it again a couple of times to fully absorb what was going on. But continue, Keith.
I'm trying to remember if when I picked this book up 40 years ago, after reading number 7, we see Supergirl go, and so okay, they said they're going to get rid of 2 people. And you see Barry Allen, who since the very first issue, we've seen foreshadowing of Barry's seemingly demise. So I guess I realized that this is the issue with Barry. And I probably peeked ahead anyway. I mean, it's a comic book. And I do that today also. It's I still do it. It was a shock value to see Barry lose his life, but to go out in a very heroic way. What I liked about this, I forget the reason why. Oh yeah, the anti-monitor now says he needs the Psycho Pirate again. And all of a sudden, the Psycho Pirate is walking around all haughty and and he's taunting Barry, right? So Barry's stuck at the wall, but we know that Barry's been secretly vibrating his way out of that gunk.
Yep.
And then Barry just loses it and beats the living snot out of the Psycho Pirate, who just is like, if there is one villain you really love to hate, this guy is it, because he's such a whiny little, I won't say the big word. He's a whiny little bum. And I just love the fact that Barry's never been we've never seen Barry like that before either, right?
Yeah. Barry's tortured for like 8 issues.
Yeah. And, Barry's very much in the mold of Superman and Supergirl, very controlled, because he's very powerful. And yet here it's like, okay, I got to beat the crap out of this guy and destroy that machine to save my universe.
Yeah.
And also, he also had, he was, Barry was beaten up for issues, but he also was he had a rough couple years in his own book before this.
That's
he had,
right, yes.
I mean, at least 2 years. There's an argument to be made back to when Iris died, even, that it was like 7 years of a bad run for him.
Yeah.
No pun intended. But the last 2 years, especially when he killed Reverse Flash and went on trial and is losing his secret identity and losing this and that, and he really, he had it. So when he finally got loose, that was a very different Barry, and it was just great to see. It was very rewarding.
It's he mentions it too. He's like, I've been on trial for things I didn't commit. Like he says it in that issue, in this issue. So
and then he uses the Psycho Pirate's power. He basically says, I've got nothing to lose, but now you, my friend, can lose everything. Pirate, you're gonna love this one. And it's like, oh, it's so badass. It's not so unlike Barry, but it fits the story.
Totally.
Yeah. And then we get to see again, just to pull away from the Flash for a moment, things that stuck out to me. We got to see Jon Stewart in action.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
We got to see
Ray
Blue Devil. Oh my god! I remember Blue Devil from the '80s. I'm like, wow, Blue Devil. He's in, and he's sort of like a main part of this issue.
Yeah.
we get to see what Firehawk, is that her name? The Firestorm.
Firehawk, yeah.
Yeah,
Right.
I only remember seeing her in like one of those DC Secret Origin things. So it was cool to see her.
This is where she
like-
gets her new costume, also. Her new outfit,
Yep.
Yeah.
right? We got to see Ray Palmer still
Ray
in his,
Palmer,
yeah.
in
Love
his,
the Atom.
yeah. Who else did we see?
He was in his Sword of the Atom look.
We got to see Vixen, of course. We got to see Cyborg trying to rebuild the Red Tornado.
Yes, Dr. T.O. Morrow.
T.O. Morrow, right? He's a real creep. Somebody, that's great. I mean, yeah, Wolfman writes these villains, some of them are like, they're still like C-listers, but some of them are real, they're really evil, and, you want to see them get their comeuppance.
And even at the end, there's the challenges of the unknown.
Challenges the unknown, yeah.
I mean, it's just. I'm also wondering, like Marv Wolfman, like he didn't let up. He's like, I just killed Supergirl. Now I'm gonna kill the like. He didn't get like the audience a chance to like recoup a little bit. He's like, I'm gonna kill somebody else in the very next issue. So
Yeah, I wonder what that was like when you're reading it. Like Joe, what was that like? Even if you knew that Barry was going to die at some point or suspected it because they were dropping hints in his book was canceled. Like that must have been like crazy. Like one right after another.
This was like unlike any. I had been reading comics at this point for 20 years. I think I said in an early episode, it was time for DC to start, growing up and changing some things and jettisoning some things and whatnot. But every issue was so much fun. There were so many twists and turns. You didn't know what was going to happen next. There's a character that's killed off in the next issue that I completely forgot about. When we get there, I'll talk about that. We talk about floppy, talk about how to save the industry, do a big run on something, get people involved, get them hyped, get them excited. They'll come into the comic book store, LCS once a month to pick up this book. They'll buy other things. Well, I was already buying other things before this came out, but but I could imagine new readers, and obviously Keith is one of them at that point. He got hooked. This hooked him into DC Comics and the whole universe.
I think if I was reading it at that time, I could semi understand Supergirl. I don't think I would have seen the Flash being terminated.
Well, you hadn't read the Trial of the Flash that Keith talked about.
Yeah, and I unfortunately, and I'm very, very sorry.
Keith, is that collected in an omnibus?
I wasn't a big.
Oh no,
Flash
it's only
fan.
in one like showcase edition, which is like so hard to find. It's in black and white, but you can get the issues pretty cheap.
Yeah, Richard, you could read the Trial of the Flash, starting with, I won't say who kills Iris, but when Iris dies,
Right.
and it goes all the way to the very end of the book, the last issue. It's an amazing Flash. Every issue written by Carrie Bates, right, Keith?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was
And,
probably collecting it and reading it.
Yeah, then it's like you really should read from 270 to 350, which is like 80 issues, 70 issues. Sorry, they're 80 issues. Whatever. But if you want the full impact, yeah, it's. And I had to go back and get it all. I was a little kid. I didn't have a lot of money. I had to read stuff piecemeal too. I didn't even read Crisis in order. I might have gotten like number 2 next or something. And I didn't care. I wasn't waiting. I was just reading it. Absorbing it, and then I'd get like while doing that, grabbing like I don't know issue 344 Flash or this one. I just putting it all together, and then eventually reading it in order again. But I couldn't. That's all my lunch money went to. I didn't eat for like years.
At
that age, Joe and I were the same way, right?
Oh yeah.
Anything we could collect or get went to comics.
Got our little hands on.
It was a different time when I was collecting, but similar thing. Whatever money I could scrounge up, I put towards my comics. So I'm curious, Richie, since you just read this now, like given the fact this is such a, even though he's alive and doing everything, like since this is still such a big piece of comic book history, did it still like hit you, or did you feel like now I finally get to see this thing that's been talked about? And
yeah, it was more I finally get to see this thing. Like I started to say, to me, Flash is such an icon. I would not have suspected it, even reading those issues, because chances more likely I read them, but because I wasn't reading so many things and Flash wasn't my number one character, I read it and just figured, okay, and I probably didn't even know that they were going to be discontinuing Flash, so none of that would have entered my mind. This would have come as a big shock to see him
you know what's
die.
Also about Flash's death in this issue, nobody knows about it.
Yeah, it's
right. Oh yeah, exactly.
It's heroic. It's bittersweet. It's all these emotions about his saving the universe, sacrificing himself, but nobody knows about it.
Yeah.
And that's just, I thought that was a stroke of genius on the part of the creators of this book. You know,
So,
it's not,
Quiet, sad death.
so
Yeah.
not
Yeah.
to derail us, and this could be probably, I don't want to like. So how is it addressed that Barry was? I guess after Crisis, everything gets reset. So does anybody like? Is it Barry not an issue anymore, or is it
No,
like?
they within the series,
it's
Wally,
addressed
of
in
course,
issue 9. Yeah.
Okay.
Wally wants to know what's going on. Like
Yeah.
Okay.
he comes out of retirement
Yeah.
and he invests, and other people also care too, but he's the one leading the charge. And
Mhm.
yeah, Barry Allen isn't forgotten after the crisis. It isn't like some characters
No.
were. He's not. Like people remember like his Flash just as much. They don't know his name or anything, but yeah.
Okay. Okay. Just curious. I mean, I don't want to skip too far ahead, but
It even
I
kind of
did.
implies later, like you'll see later without spoiling anything in issue 12, that while he addresses that,
It is like a contrast to Supergirl,
Yes, exactly. And
who
that's-
has all 5 Earths mourning her. It seems like
Yeah.
and no one's mourning Barry, at least not like where we are reading currently. By the time.
but ironically though, she's the one who gets erased from existence after when they reassemble the Earth, but Barry doesn't. He's the one who like is more remembered. His like presence is felt for every in every Wally, not every Wally comic, but for many years, Barry's a big presence in the book.
When this story ended in 1986, and all the new books, some number ones, like a new Flash #1, a new Wonder Woman #1, John Byrne's Man of Steel, there were for a couple of years it was kind of mentioned in certain books that certain characters who were there at the end in issue 12, if they were there for that big battle, which I won't give away too much more of, they remembered the crisis. And then as the years went on, and I guess different crises also happened, people remember the red skies, but regular normal people, the normies, didn't understand what that was about. They just remember, the skies were red for a while. It's even addressed in this issue how things are getting quote unquote back to normal. But some of the heroes, especially Superman, he remembered a lot of this stuff. Not right away in the Byrne run. I think they picked it up maybe a bit later on when Byrne left. But it was kind of hinted at that not everybody forgot the crisis, what happened, the merging of all the universes.
Immediately, I think addressed in issue 11 or 12. I'm sorry, 10 or 11.
Mm-hmm.
So Keith, I guess just to take us home with this issue, what does the Flash do that ultimately causes his demise? Because I don't think we've said specifically for our listeners.
Yeah, he finds he finds this giant antimatter cannon, and using Flash superhero science and sci-fi science, he realizes this giant cannon is like aimed at the remaining Earth, and it's going to destroy it. And using again that science, he figures out if he runs around it at top speed, like the fastest he's ever moved, he can make it explode or implode. And he destroys it. It's like most crazy, insanely heroic thing. And the cool thing, it ties into the rest of the series, where while he's running around the antimatter cannon, trying to destroy it, and he's dying, he's also going back in time, so he's causing those events that you saw in issue 2 and 3, where he sees Batman and the Joker, and seeing Batman again with all the Titans around him outside, and he's saying all the things he said to them. And then he even sees one point where he sees Wally, but that's actually in the future. That happens in a different issue, like I think issue 12. And you see him just run himself to death, and talking to Iris, talking to Wally, Ralph, and Sue. Just like it chills even. I just read it again. It just really, like, I don't know. I was a little kid. I was so moved. It was like my biggest thing ever.
Wow.
It's just like it's and beautiful again, and Perez's beautiful art. I mean, the guy could draw like Flash doing laundry, and I'd watch it and I'd read it. But it's amazing, though, and like I don't know, it was really well done. And for me, as a kid too, it was so, in my mind, like so sophisticated. I never saw anything like that in a movie, where especially when I read it all later, and I like actually got the whole picture of how he had, Barry had been, reaching out to his friends in those first 2 issues, running through time, and he, begging for help. Like I've never saw any kind of like storytelling that complex in my life all my 10 years back then, and then ultimately you see him just basically run himself to his skeleton and then to dust.
Wow. Yeah.
Yeah.
I know they didn't follow it. I mean, the CW did pretty well, but it was. I know Grant Gustin couldn't die, but it was John Wishley's ship being, I guess, the Flash that I grew up with. Seeing him do what Barry Allen did in Crisis, I was like,
That was cool.
that was cool. It was cool to see like the original Flash, at least to me, like
Totally.
like that was the closest we're going to get to an accurate Crisis, at least from what I've seen so far in live action, and so I was happy that they did it that way.
And James, you mentioned the Doom Patrol. Next to the last page, they pick up a signal, which they it's a scream, and they don't know where it's coming from. And then you turn the page, and you see her screaming, and it's the Spectre.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, he popped up earlier, I believe, but I remember when I was reading this, thinking that there might only be one being in the entire DC universe that can take out the Anti-Monitor, and because he's the Spectre is the right hand of God. He's all powerful.
Yes. Yeah.
So that's a very, and I'm looking at that page right now. It's just amazing.
It's a beautiful page too.
Beautiful.
That'd make a great poster.
Imagine what that original art must go for. They're probably insane.
Oh my God! Yeah.
Yeah. I imagine like a few $1,000s for that page, if not more. Some of those original Perez pages from Crisis go for a lot of money. So.
Mm-hmm.
Do you guys think that maybe? And I'm sure I'm not the only first person to ever think this, but I think one of the reasons why Barry was chosen, other than I got that the book was like some people thought it was a little stagnant. I enjoyed it when I went back and reread the last couple of years, but I feel like it was probably a thing where they wanted to mirror like Barry Allen brought in the Silver Age of comics, and they wanted to like show that this was like the end of something big like that. Like it was more like so symbolic, because that's all you heard about, I'm sure, because like I went back and would read like fanzines or even like Comic Book Price Guide, and like he brought in the Silver Age, Barry Allen. Like it was probably like such a like symbolic thing to kill him.
I never thought of it that way, but I think we said this before on other podcasts, how the mid '80s was the birth of the quote unquote modern age of comics. Golden to silver to bronze to modern, and we talked about different stories that birthed that. Whatever Happened to the Man of Tomorrow, Daredevil Born Again, Batman Year One, Batman The Dark Knight Returns. But there seemed to be more things happening at DC in the 80s than Marvel, although Marvel was great also at the same time. But yeah, I think this could be it. I think you're right, Keith. This was the end of the silver / bronze age of comics. And since Barry ushered that in, yeah, I guess they figured, okay, he's the guy that has to go. Supergirl, that's easy because they knew what they were going to do with Byrne. He was wiping the slate clean. Sole survivor again.
Totally.
So they had to get rid of Supergirl.
Right.
So yeah, that was just bookkeeping. But
Right.
this was I think this was intended and yeah.
Yeah, I think so. Because like also at the end of like the innocence, like now we're serious, now we're growing up, kind of a thing.
Yep.
Which I'm not, right or wrong. I'm just saying, like I feel like I've always kind of thought that maybe it was something like you get someone big, but also someone who's symbolic.
Yeah.
He was again, that's to this day, that's all you ever hear. Or we look at a price guide or something like that. Like Showcase 4, Barry Allen ushered in the Silver Age. And sometimes very often you hear, he saved comics because superhero comics really weren't a thing anymore other than Superman, Batman, right?
Superman, Batman, Wonder Woman. That's it.
Yeah.
I guess we'll move on to issue 9, our last part, which our villains issue, which starts with our introduction of Guy Gardner, Green Lantern, officially.
Is that what this is?
Yeah.
We came back, yeah.
Yeah.
Wait. He came back, or this is him?
He was introduced before, though, in the comics, like years before. What happened to the show?
Oh, I think it's Green Lantern 58, Volume 1. I could be wrong. Again, Steve, if you're out there, check on James. You could check. Well, you're a lot better.
But this is when he's, I guess, officially accepting.
Yeah, he's the first alternate human Green Lantern because for some reason Hal's incapacitated. They go to him, and he's not a jerk then. Yeah, no. I think he was a high school teacher.
Yeah,
coach. Yeah.
He wasn't he supposed to be the first, like retcon? They retconned it where he was supposed to be the first choice, and
yes, that's exactly. Yeah, they retconned that in somewhere later down the line. He was the first choice,
and that added to Guy's attitude later.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Forgot like why he wasn't. Maybe I don't know. I don't know. It was whatever the reason was, but yeah, I know I'd seen him like on a Green Lantern cover from like the '60s or something, so I knew he'd been around.
Oh yeah,
Maybe like one issue or something, and then came back.
Yeah, Green Lantern, Volume 2, Issue 59,
59. I was off by one.
1968.
Yeah, I was off
Jeez.
by one number. Yeah, not 15. I have that. I have that issue. I have Guy Gardner's first appearance. I remember reading that as a kid.
But this is I guess after that issue, this is the first return of him accepting the ring. Is this the?
He was
I
like
believe
injured or something.
so.
Like they reference him being in a coma, so I think he was injured.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So we have Guy Gardner being introduced in this issue officially as part of the Green Lantern Corps, and he watches Oa blow up, or the Guardians' council chamber blow up, and he's been sworn to avenge the.
And
chap.
again, James, I can't help all the Guardians care about apparently is revenge. I mean, let nothing stay your mighty hand.
Yeah.
The universes are crumbling. Trillions of people are dying, and they want revenge. I mean, because they lost a couple of little blue guys. I can't stand these guys. I really can't. I forgot how much I hated them. They're just so clueless. The Guardians, they really are.
I agree. It bothered the hell out of me that these wise old men that have been around from the beginning, that they want revenge. And that's like a whole group.
Yeah,
they should be showing
the
something.
You want to save the multiverse.
So this issue is good. It's not as of the three we read. This is not the strongest, I think, because the narrative is kind of split in a lot of different directions. But it's still a great issue because we get to see so many characters. We get to see all the villains that.
Mm-hmm.
All the villains. We get to see that's the Brainiac that I grew up with, the classic superpower action figure Brainiac. That's the one that they made, was the electronic robot skeleton one. Luthor looks right out of his superpower, like his power suit.
He's got his battle suit, right? Yeah.
The battle suit is what I had Luthor growing up in. To me, that's like reading this, like this takes me back to like all the superpower action figures that I had growing up. Is what this
totally.
This issue is.
Me too.
We get some Sergeant Rock and some Jeb Stewart on the bottom of page 8. Get some classic DC war heroes. Yeah.
You get like a little bit of everything. You get the Titans are involved. You get Sergeant Rock, as you were saying, Joe. We get the Creeper, right? The Creeper shows up.
Yeah, I'm looking at him right now. Yeah, Jack Ryder.
Yeah. But what is I guess to kind of tie it all together, Dr. Fate is there. Like they're trying to break through the barrier to get through the other Earths, and while he gets recruited, he pulls out of retirement.
Yep.
Because Luthor and Brainiac have taken over 3 of the 5 Earths.
Yes.
They've taken over, what are they? S, X, and 4. Those are the Earths that they've taken over. And so things are still partially merged. So things are gotten better, but they're not completely better. And there's that, apparently in Greenwich Village in New York, there's that time flux zone where everything is going on at the same time. Luthor and Brainiac obviously are playing both sides against the middle here, with the villains and the heroes. That's why I look at it. Because they don't care. They don't care who wins. They know that they're going to pick up the spoils, kind of like Darkseid.
Right.
Yes. And, yeah. So, and then you're right. They do find who is it that finds Wally? Oh, Harbinger and Jay. Wally. Yeah.
Yeah. And they break out the cosmic treadmill, right?
The cosmic treadmill. Yeah. Make a bigger one. Yeah, they make it even bigger.
I had we sold that figure, Rich. Remember they had the 2-pack with Barry and Wally and the cosmic treadmill. You could DC Direct. It was like a box. Yeah.
Oh, really?
It was like a $50 figure pack, and they gave the cosmic treadmill.
I don't remember that. I remember Joe getting the wasn't it the 2 Flashes coming out from or.
That statue.
The statue, yeah.
The statue.
Yeah. The cover of 123, Flash of 2 Worlds. Yeah, we get to see the new Doom Patrol here, because the old Doom Patrol all died except Robot Man. So you see Tempest, Celsius, the new Negative Woman, and Mento, who's Steve Dayton, I believe. We see Hawk and Dove again.
And then we have the Flornick Man and Poison Ivy have trapped. Was it Uncle Sam and Phantom Lady and
right?
Oh yeah, they're having a ball on that other Earth X because it's so lush in there. And there's a character who does buy the farm here that I completely forgot about, and that's Tula, Aquagirl.
Oh right, that's right. Yeah,
completely forgot that she doesn't make it out of this thing alive.
Oh, that's right. I'm not even familiar really with that character, but I did
Oh, they introduced her back in the late '60s, Aqua Girl. Yeah, mid to late '60s. Yeah,
Yeah, well, it was back in
she's
the
been
day,
around a
but
long
you know,
time.
I didn't think twice about it. Unfortunately, I was trying.
No, we see Paco Ramon, Vibe,
Oh,
Vibe,
Vibe, yeah, yeah.
Vibe from the the Flash television series, right? We
That's
see
how I
him.
know Vibe. I
Yeah,
knew that's how I got introduced to Vibe was through the
yeah,
Flash TV show.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So
And what is this Proteus? Is that like the
yes, we see Chemo or Chemo.
chemo? Yeah,
Oh, that was a big
Proteus.
argument in the comic book store one day. Is it Chemo or Chemo?
Oh,
I don't think you were there, James, but that was like that went on for a couple hours.
did
I
it? Who
kept
was
saying
it?
it's chemo. No, it's chemo. No, it's chemo. And other people joined in, and hey, hey, Rich Granjack, how you doing? What do you think? Is it chemo or chemo? What? Yeah, that was a pretty good one.
Who won?
I don't remember,
Okay.
Rich, but I do know that I stuck to. I think it's chemo, but I've never heard anybody of great importance like Marv Wolfman saying this is the correct pronunciation. So it's up to interpretation, I guess.
And then at the end, when Luther thinks he's won, he's got everything. It's Simon or
Mm-hmm.
who's really been behind everything or controlling the behind the scenes.
Yeah, he blew up Brainiac.
He blew up Brainiac, yeah.
Yeah, holy cow. I completely forgot that too.
And going with our incarnations of Hawkman, this is probably the least liked Hawkman costume, right? The one where he's just got the cowl on.
Yeah,
That's the Golden Age Hawkman, yes.
Yeah,
Yes.
the least.
Makes like no sense. He's wearing like a superhero mask.
Yeah,
Yeah.
he looks like a professional wrestler with wings at this point. So
Totally.
He looks like Rey Mysterio, yeah.
yeah,
It's like the only costume I think I don't like of Hawkman.
I don't know. This was a good issue, but it's a little bit of filler for me. I don't know what everyone else
Yeah,
thinks. Like,
that's what I would think. And yeah,
it's like a little bit of a. It's still got. It's got tons of action. I mean, these 3 issues have more fighting than happened in all 6 issues we saw previously. And like I said, even in this issue, while I feel like it's sort of a meandering issue, that's a filler. Like Perez is doing like unbelievable stuff on every page. I mean, just the amount of like fights and battles and characters, and he's using a 9-panel grid and doing something interesting in each one of them.
Yeah, you see the Fatal Five here, the battling Lady Quark and Zatanna and the Creeper. There's Elitis. The Penguin's in there. I didn't know. And there's something. I think it's in this issue. I need to find it.
The Riddler's in there at some point.
At the beginning with the kids watching something on TV. Yeah, there's a page 8 where Clark is talking about representatives of all 5 worlds are going to be at the UN and things are going on, and we see a kid sitting in his chair. I don't know who that kid is, and he's like, huh. But he's got a picture, 2 pictures up on his dresser.
Oh yes,
and it's Sugar and Spike, Rich.
I did notice that. I noticed that.
All right, good.
Oh yeah.
I mean, you talk about obscure characters, but that was a very popular comic book back in the day.
Yeah, absolutely.
I didn't read it. I'm not getting any dispersions on it, but I didn't read it. But yeah, I noticed that there they are, Sugar and Spike.
All right, well that clears that up because I knew that had to be something. That why we're just cutting to this kid watching TV, and then never cut to him again.
And yet you mentioned 9. There's 12 panels in this page.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Yeah, holy cow! And it doesn't look crowded. It doesn't look.
No,
I can follow what's going on. Right?
No, it doesn't bother me that there's 12.
He was a master storyteller, George Perez. That's what you can say about it. Yeah.
All right. Well, I think we covered it, guys. Right? We did. We did a good dive. So our listening audience, we gave you a great tour, I think, of issues 7, 8, and 9. This is Crisis Part 3. So look forward to Crisis Part 4. We are now left waiting to see what the Spectre does next. So, but before we wrap up, I have to thank my fellow survivors of the crisis who will join us hopefully in the next one. So thank you very much, Joe.
Definitely.
You're welcome, James. Sometimes I don't know what earth I'm on.
Thank you very much, Keith.
Oh, thank you guys. It's been a pleasure. This is one of my favorite stories ever.
Very good, and thank you very much, Richie.
Well, thank you for reintroducing this to me and getting me to read it, and thanks for having me on. I'll be back for the last one.
All right.
Yes, absolutely.
I can't wait to get to to the last two issues.
After all these 40 years, Rich, you're finally going to get to read Crisis
Finally.
and finish it. Yeah. So,
See that? Isn't that amazing? Yeah.
listening
yeah.
audience, thank you for joining us for this third part of our Crisis. Obviously, wherever you were listening to us, you can always leave us a comment or a thought. We thank you for listening, and we'll talk to you on the next episode.